trying to raise capital, because raising capital is fine and I can find investors, but then you start muddying the waters. And if you try to go to the bank, you got 30, 60 days to close,
Yeah.
where you can close a seller carry deal in 14 days. So
Oh, wow.
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. 14
Marvin knows all about that.
Marvin,
Yep.
man. Yeah, I'm going to share my screen real quick, get you guys a little bit pumped up. Just show some points. Let's go here. JC's not on, so it looks like Red Door pressure washing might be catching up a little bit.
Oh, I'm
I saw
waiting.
Nick on here a minute ago.
He's there.
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm just driving right now.
All right, just can see it all. Got Anthony getting some points. Got Sandy here getting some points. This is fun. I threw all the names into, I spent a lot of time on this the other day. And I threw everybody's names in here. So if I hit this randomize button, we'll see who's going to win $25,000. That'll be fun, right?
Ooh.
Let's see. Kahuna, Dan Plata would win $5,000. Oh, Jonathan Maynard would win $5,000. And so would David Hamill. David's not here, but that's pretty cool, huh? I did it another time and my company won, but I'm not going to pay myself. So
That's cool. You can go right down the list.
yeah, let's try it again. So Patriot Illumination, he's got 109 entries in here. So it's kind of why I had the name on that. And I hit randomize. So we got Revive, US Alternator, Absolute Fleet. So these guys only have 10 entries, but man, they got a real chance, right? That's pretty cool.
All the ones up top are all 10. So how's that? 10,
Just-
10.
It's just random. Oh, JC's on, Jonathan. Sorry.
Can't get my points.
Where'd that one go? Or David Hamill, are you on here?
Yeah, David just jumped on.
Okay. So Dan, I'm just doing this for fun. I throw this randomizer in here. Dan Plata would win $5,000. Light Up Columbus, Jonathan won $5,000. And so did David from All Washed Up.
The universe is trying to give me $5,000, so I'll take it.
Yeah. Let's try it one more time. This is kind of fun, right? I can't wait to do this on stage and literally give somebody all pro window cleaning. Nick Thurston. Dude, you would have just won $5,000. Look at that. That's cool. All right. Well,
I'll just stick with first place and not have to worry about the gamble.
yeah. So where's the leaderboard? Here we go. I was teasing JC because Jonathan was catching him, but it looks like JC hopped on. Is he on this? Yeah, he's here. So, all right, cool stuff. I'll stop sharing my screen and let's have some fun.
Dave, honestly, I could figure out a trip to Arizona once a month and still make money with $5,000.
Well, I think you could go halfway to Omaha. I kind of feel like that's what you're doing, but I don't know.
Hang on. Now, for the record, does JC get points every time he's with Angela? Because
Hell no.
I've never submitted solo pictures.
Yes, he has never submitted those. Only last week when it was a group picture, everyone at an actual conference.
Yeah.
And
Marvin was there.
Yeah. Well, see, JC's a stand-up guy. He's like,
I know.
yeah, I'm not gonna, I might try to go move in somebody like Jonathan was trying, I might try to work the system a little bit too. But it's fun, man, right? It's a lot of fun. So we got Marvin on here. Marvin, I'll let you introduce yourself, kind of give us some background about you. I'll do some sharing. I'll talk about kind of my experience as far as, my journey through business and obtaining business credit and financing and all the mistakes I made. And just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
All right. Well, my name's Marvin Salcido. I own a little landscape company over in Tyler, Texas. Amongst the other businesses that I own, been in business altogether a little over 20 years, 21 years. I've bought over 20 companies in my lifetime, everything from little bitty companies to multi-million-dollar companies and everywhere in between. And I've done it with personal credit, business credit. I've done it with no money down, Um, my most recent acquisition, I paid $0 for a company. Was able to take it over and continue on and run with it. And yeah, there's some really unique ways to structure financing out there. And I've just been able to tap into some of that and grow my business tenfold and make some pretty amazing things happen. So
That's really cool. Yeah, we'd love to hear about how you did some of that stuff.
yeah, absolutely.
I guess raise your hand or chime in if you still use some personal credit for business. Nick.
Please.
Yep.
Not for me.
Yep. Anthony. Yep. It's kind of funny. I was making a list before we got on here today, and I started thinking when I started my business, I think the first business credit I got was like a Staples office card. I was like, yeah, I can go get office supplies, right? I'm like, this is awesome. But like money, I distinctly remember money getting tight. Like we picked up a pretty big job and paying guys to work, and all of a sudden I'm like, man, like I need money for payroll. I literally went into Office Max or Staples and I bought a whole bunch of those like $500 gift cards, right? Visa cards. And then I ran them through my credit processing. So I got money in my bank and I was like, sweet. So that's how I funded payroll one time. I was like, man, thinking about this, like, I'm so embarrassed. I should just leave and walk out. But, thank God I learned things over the years, right? Like that's really embarrassing. I'm not sure I ever admitted that to anybody, but man, I was so bad at business. I had no idea, right? I even took, personal loans against my vehicles. Like I always say to my guys who work for me, like, you have no idea how many times I had to borrow money to make payroll. Like that is so common. It is so common sometimes, especially when your AR gets really big. If you're collecting on residential jobs every single day, it's a different story. But if you're doing big commercial buildings, like we were talking about government contracts, when they really don't care when they pay you, you just have to have a line of credit. A few years later, I finally got a $20,000 credit card at a credit union I was at. And I was like, hell yeah. And I could do cash advances against it or take money against it. And it was awesome because like, if I needed help with payroll, then I would just go to my credit union and say, hey, I need, $10,000 or $15,000 or whatever it was for payroll. And at the time I wrote on my notes here, I really thought, man, I'll never need more than $20,000. Like that is so much money. Like there's no way, right? Yeah, that's hilarious. I love the laughing.
And at a mere 27% interest.
Yeah, well, actually, it was a credit union, so it was 9%. It wasn't so bad, but yeah, I wouldn't do that on a credit. Like, I never did that on a credit card. I was never that desperate. So I'm like, wow, sweet, I have 20 grand. Well, luckily, my wife and I, we met our accountant, who's our accountant now, and he was really kind and sat us down and he explained to us how, our balance sheet and our P&L, like they need to line up. And if I'm going to go talk to a bank, if our numbers are correct and our accounting's correct, then the bank can actually help us and we can, get vehicle loans, equipment loans, even lines of credit. So, we cleaned up our books, hired a real accountant who actually knew what they were doing. Before that, I would just hand all my stuff to the CPA at the end of the year. I'd be like, do my taxes. And he was like, oh, I hate you. And I didn't realize why he hated me at the time, but now I know, right? So at that time, I went to a bank and I got a $25,000 line of credit. I was like, hell yeah, sweet. And again, I wrote on my notes here, again, I thought, man, I'll never need more than $25,000. This is amazing, right? And then, I bought some equipment. So I got some equipment loans. I think I bought 3 pieces of, or 4, got like a scissor lift, a couple boom lifts and an atrium lift. So I had equipment loans with this bank. Now they weren't checking my personal credit. The bank said, here's your loans for your equipment. I'm like, man, this is fantastic, right? But I actually outgrew this bank and it was interesting. Some banks have different scenarios. Like, they wanted to see our financials every quarter, which is fine. I have no problem with that. And we were going in and I remember the 2 years time I was there, like my business literally tripled. I was 3 times bigger than when I started with that $25,000 line of credit. I had some more big jobs coming up and I was like, I think I need a bigger line of credit. And so They're like, nope. And they treated me like I was a kid at the principal's office, like I was in trouble. Like every time I met with them, and they're like, we need to see your financials every single month. You need to come here and meet with us every month. And if we don't see your financials, we're going to pull your line of credit. And I'm just like, I really felt like I was in trouble. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm the guy that's got the business growing. So it was really fun. I actually fired my bank. And then, man, did that feel nice, right? Like all these years I was trying to, get money or buy a truck or whatever. I was told, no, no, no. And finally I'm like, you know what? You guys are fired this time. So I found a local business bank, they just want to do business banking. And relationships are huge, right? I mean, that's kind of part of why we're all here right now is relationships. Created a really good relationship with this other bank. Now our line of credit's $250,000, right? Like I've bought businesses with that line of credit. I've bought trucks with that line of credit, made payroll with that line of credit. And maybe I should not think I never need more, but like right now I feel like I don't need more than that, which is great, right? And then the other day, actually last month, I bought 3 trucks in my business, and all 3 of them, they didn't even check my personal credit. Like that wasn't necessary. So I went to, we buy our trucks from Enterprise Car Sales or Chevy. And then there's a finance company called Ally Finance, and got us a great rate and said, just walk out the door, you can have this truck. So it's really nice feeling when I don't have to be like, well, here's my personal credit. Here's how much money I make. They check our Duns and Bradstreet. They check our business financials or whatever they do. I mean, I think we set up an account with them. I think we have a line of credit with Ally, and I just say, hey, I want to go buy a truck. But man, how things have changed, right? Now I've got the freedom and I can go bid on big jobs. If a company comes up for sale that I'm really wanting to go buy, I have the access to the funds. Pretty exciting, right, guys? So what about you, Marvin? Do you have any thoughts or any feedback on did you do anything crazy like I did and go buy a bunch of credit or gift cards?
Oh man, I remember one time I tried to make payroll by running my Amex through my own credit card machine and kind of pay myself, and they almost canceled my credit card machine. It flagged it because it was myself running it on my own machine, and they highly frown against that. And they flagged it and they said, no, absolutely not. You cannot do this. We will shut your account down. You cannot pay yourself from your own credit card. But yeah, I mean, I've borrowed money from friends and banks and lines of credits and everywhere in between to make payroll before, many times. I remember one point in time, years and years ago, I went 3 months without getting paid personally because I wanted to make sure that all the bills got paid with the business. And I did what it took to make sure that the ball kept rolling and the ship kept moving.
That's amazing because like employees don't get it. Like they're like, dude, you're a millionaire, you own a business, and like, man, they don't realize the stress we go through. Look at Jonathan smiling. Jonathan, you got any crazy credit stories?
None that come to the top of my head. It's one of those things where when you start business, you just do what you can. I think I probably have blocked them out through a lot of therapy.
Yeah. Now, Sandy, you don't have that responsibility, right? That's Kirk's responsibility. You ever see him stressing about payroll and
Well, if he does, he doesn't let it show.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. But I did get tickled by you saying the employees think that he's just rolling in money and they have no clue what it takes to run the company.
Yeah.
It wouldn't even really do any good, like to draw some type of a chart and show them because it wouldn't be comprehended.
Yeah. Anytime we try to share financials with our staff and employees, we try to turn it in a way as if like me, like little teeny tiny bit of that big old pie, right? And we show them like employees get the biggest portion of that pie, like, and they look at us like, we're rolling in the dough. About you, Marvin, have you used business credit or have you bought any commercial real estate or anything besides businesses?
Yeah, I've got several plots of commercial real estate. I'm actually my largest client I rent to myself, so I have one company that owns all the property, and then I rent it to my business,
Yeah.
and so I pay myself. But no, I have several million in commercial real estate. I've got, I don't know, 10 or 15, no, about 15 acres or so, with some warehouses and stuff like that on it. And then I've got some residential real estate that I rent out.
He's breaking up a little bit. I guess I'll jump in. I do actually, in my business, I own a house that I turned into like a rental property. So one of my managers rents the house for me up in Flagstaff. And then we have like a 2-room Airbnb in it as well. So when we send people from Phoenix to Flagstaff to go work, we're not paying for rent. So the business essentially is paying for all that. And we're saving money by not paying somebody else in rent. And the employees are staying in our place. That's wonderful. We can do that. David, you have commercial building, correct?
Can y'all hear me again?
Oh, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
go ahead.
Yep.
All right. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. We've got fiber internet, and every
Okay.
once in a while it freaks out. But no, I was just saying that I've
Yes,
got
sir. You fixing to set off an alarm?
Oh, I've got several commercial properties, and then I've got some residential rentals, Airbnb, and some long-term renters. And we've utilized commercial credit in order to buy those. And what's pretty cool is that as you grow your net worth, you can leverage your properties against each other and not have to utilize. You can get into properties with no money down, because you take the equity out of one property and then leverage it against another property to be able to buy that, and then just continue to stockpile it and keep moving forward.
Now, like a commercial property, I've not bought a commercial property. I'd love to. Is it you need 20% down for that, or is there other ways?
It's typically 20% down. If you're buying it from an individual, even though it's a commercial property, they can hold a 20% loan personally, and then that can be utilized as your 20% down. And then the bank will utilize, or they'll hold an 80% loan, or you can leverage your capital in another property and leverage it against the new property, and then you can get in with no money down.
Is it a bad idea to take equity out of a personal property to go buy a commercial property? Is that a bad idea, or is that not a bad idea?
I mean, sometimes you got to do what you got to do in order to keep moving forward. I try not to intermingle my personal finances with my business, or I try not to intermingle one business with another business.
True.
My
It's against the
businesses
law,
need to
actually,
stand.
to commingle businesses. It's against the law. Just
Yeah,
Yeah.
and my businesses, like I don't ever loan money from one business to another or
Yeah.
anything like that. My businesses need to live on their own or die on their own.
Yeah, it's really well said. So tell us some of your cool strategies as far as purchasing businesses with almost no money down. How do you find these businesses? Do they come to you, or are you looking for them?
A lot of them have come to me, just because I have a good reputation in town. I tend to buy within my same industry just because I'm comfortable with it and I'm familiar with it. I'm able to jump in it and roll, push the business forward really fast. Although here in the near future, I do plan on branching out and beyond any type of business that I've ever purchased before. But I look for distressed businesses that I know can be profitable, that they're probably just mismanaged. Or I look for frustrated business owners. I also look for owners that are ready to retire. Those are probably some of my favorite to buy. Because you got to think about right now, we live in a period of time that we're about to see the largest mass exodus of business owners ever in history. All the baby boomers are about to retire out. I mean, they're aging out. And within the next 10 years, we're going to have millions upon millions of owners that are going to either sell their business, give their business away, give it the Viking funeral, and just retire the business. But this is an amazing time to come in and pick up these businesses, and a lot of times you can pick them up at a discounted rate, just simply because they're done, they're ready to retire, they want to be out of it. Maybe they've been trying to sell it for a couple of years and they haven't been able to get anybody on the hook, or they sold it and then the deal fell through, or the person, defaulted on the loan and then they ended up with it back in their lap or whatever. And a lot of times they have an impending date in their mind. Like, I want to retire by December 31st, 23. And so every day that we get closer to that date in their mind, you get a better deal.
Yeah, value goes down. Yeah,
The
Well, with
value
all
goes
these-
down.
All these baby boomers, getting out of business, is that going to drive the price for their businesses down? It's going to be cheaper.
Yes and no. I mean, at a certain point, the business is worth what somebody will pay for it. I think that what's going to hurt, and yes, it can absolutely drive the business or the value of the business down. But I think the biggest thing is that a lot of these guys are gonna, and I say guys just as a general term, a lot of these people are going to overvalue their business, because they hear, oh, your business will sell for 3
Yeah.
times net or
Yeah.
3 times gross. And in all reality, that's not an actual figure. Like that, that rarely happens. Or you get 3
Especially
times
if they're
EBITDA
a
or
sole-
5 times EBITDA.
Yeah, especially if they're a sole entrepreneur and they're out doing all the work. Like,
Because the
never
business
got
is
that value.
tied to them, and when they exit the business, many times so do their employees, so do their clients, because everything revolves around them, and their biggest asset are their actual hard assets in their client list.
Mhm.
That's where their value is.
So explain
And,
to me how you did the deal where, would you say you put 0 down on a business? Didn't the business owner even give you cash as far as cash
Yeah,
flow
so
to
I've
run the
done
business?
deals where I bought the business and actually got cash back at closing. I did a deal a couple of years ago where the owner financed the entire deal for me. I gave him, Lord, I don't remember how much I gave him down. That's been so long ago. But I asked him for, I think it was $50,000 back at closing for operating costs, just to see if I could get it, and he agreed to do it.
It's great.
There was nothing that said he needed to, had to. I just threw it out there just to see if I could get it, and he agreed to it. So additionally, essentially, I got a $50,000 discount
Mhm.
for that business at closing. I did another deal where the guy wrote me it was an $83,000 check at closing. A little bit of it was prepaid sales, but the majority of it was I had asked for operating costs, and he gave it to me just because I asked for it. And there's nothing that says that you have to put money down in order to buy a business. I've got a friend who bought a distressed business. The owner was sunsetting the business, and she was able to step in. She paid $1 for the business. And she agreed to give him a percentage of the profits over the next couple of years, just in good faith. But she paid $1 for the business. I took over a business about 6 months ago, and I paid nothing for it. What I did is I took a headache off of this guy. He was a really, really good technician. He was really good at his craft, but he hated the business side of business. And I told him, I said, look, why don't you come and work for me? I'll pay you well, and I'll take care of all the headache. I'll take care of payroll. I'll take care of how much we charge clients. I'll take care of all of that. And you just go and do what you love to do. And he had been doing this as a side gig. And he had been losing money at his side gig. So he had a really, really expensive hobby.
Yeah.
And he was an engineer by trade, and I was able to retire him from his engineering job. He was able to do this full time, which was his passion. And so I helped fulfill a dream for him, and I took a headache off of his plate for no money down.
Yeah, that's super cool.
So there's a thousand different
win-win,
ways
right?
to structure these deals. Yeah, it's win-win. There's
Yeah.
1,000 different ways to structure these deals. It's all in the negotiations.
For real. What businesses have you said no to that you didn't want to buy?
A lot of times it's owner operator businesses.
Yep.
Where 100% of the business is, I mean, the business, the owner is the technician. He's the one who's answering all the calls. And I realize that he has built a relationship business with, a relationship deal with all of his clients. And so if he leaves, the majority of the business is going to leave.
Yeah.
And I mean, the business is just going to go away. I have a business that I bought one time that I should have walked away from at the closing table, and I didn't, and it ended up costing me $250,000.
Oh wow.
We were going after this business because it was going to solve several problems for us. It was going to give us some management staff. It was going to give us a bookkeeper, some additional employees. It checked all the boxes off. And we were looking at the books for the last, 3 years of the business. And every year the business had gone down. Well, he had a good explanation for it, and we bought his story. But what we never got until the day of closing was his final set of books. And he had all but stopped everything. The business had virtually stopped before we took it over. And when I saw that, I knew in my gut that I should have walked away, and I didn't. And so after we took it over, it was one struggle after another, because what we had to do is we had to reprime that pump and get the business moving forward again. And it was so difficult to do that. We ended up shutting the business down within like 6 months. And just completely walking away from it. We ended up, I mean, it cost me $250,000. I still have to pay the bank back for that loan.
Expensive lesson. Yeah.
Should have walked away, and I didn't.
This is good. This is good stuff that we like to share. Like last week, we were talking about mistakes in business, all the mistakes we made, so we can share them, and hopefully we can avoid that for each other. Right. I want to talk about like steps to build business credit. I don't know if, somebody's probably going to watch this in the future or a different recording, but I have a list of steps to building good business credit. The first one is to get a competent accountant, and get your numbers done right. Don't try to do it yourself. Hire an accountant who actually knows what they're doing. And not all bookkeepers are true accountants. So you can have a bookkeeper, and bookkeepers are great, but you need to speak to an accountant and make sure your P&L and your balance sheets are in line with each other, right? Then you want to get a Duns and Bradstreet number. That's a number assigned to you. It's like your social security number for your business. And then go get like a company gas card and go get like a Grainger. Grainger is a warehouse that sells all sorts of stuff that, you could probably buy somewhere else, but you can buy it there too. You can buy pressure washing parts or whatever. But go get a Grainger account, go buy a few things and pay it back. Let that run for a couple months, and then go talk to a business banker. And business bankers, they like to see assets they can attach. And like an AR is an actual asset. So if you have accounts receivable, a lot of people don't want to go do commercial work because they're like, I hate it when people owe me money. However, your AR is a true asset for a bank. So if a bank's going to attach themselves to your business and you default on payments, they own that AR. So having a high AR, when we get assigned our line of credit, they want to know what our average AR is on a monthly basis. So that's kind of my list. You feel like I'm missing anything there, Marvin?
No, I think you hit all the check boxes right there.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it's fun to live. Like if you look at my personal credit, like I don't own any trucks. I don't own any car payments. you know, actually even put my homes in a trust. So like my homes aren't even on my personal credit. It's kind of cool, right? It looks like I have a ton of income and no debt. So that even helps with your personal credit if you want to go buy, you know, a big house or something like that as well.
Yeah.
Cool. Does anybody have any questions? I know we've been doing a lot of talking. Open it up for some questions.
I would just add on the flip side of this, of looking at it like, so you want to sell your business one day. What he was talking about earlier, you know, you can't be the owner operator. If you're trying to set yourself up to exit at some point, you know, if you build your identity around it, like it's your name and it's in the name of the company. Well, it doesn't do you any good when you go to sell it. So you want to have a name that has something to do with the service you provide, not with you in it, because nobody cares it's you. And then you've got to be able to exit the operations of it. You know, like we've washed over 13,000 houses. I have washed 0 houses in my life. I've never been on the truck because I wanted to set it up to where if I want to get out, I can get out and it can go on without me. And somebody knows, oh, I can make $250,000 a year without doing a thing.
Yeah, that's great. That's fantastic.
I'll tell you this, if you are looking to sell, it's typically a 3 to a 5 year process in order to properly set your business up for selling. Most of the time what happens is an owner gets frustrated or they realize that, oh crap, you know, I'm ready to retire. I want to retire by the end of the year. But for the past however many years you've owned your business, you've ran it at almost zero, so you pay little to no taxes. And by zero, I mean you know, almost zero net profit. So you've used some tax strategies, and that's fine. But whenever you go to sell, if I come to you and I look at your books, I'm going to be like, well, this guy made, you know, $20,000 profit on a $3 million business. His business is crap.
Yeah.
And that's going to highly devalue your business, even though you can try and tell me all the, well, I did it, you know, to save on taxes, whatever. Hey, that's all well and good. That's great. But that doesn't help me. That doesn't help my bank. You know, if I am going to leverage money and use other people's money, use the bank and stuff, they're going to look at that and be like, this business is dead. Don't buy that. That's a horrible buy. We will not loan against that. But if you back up 3 to 5 years and you start making your business as absolutely profitable as possible, you have systems in place, processes, a company handbook, you have, you know, everything set up to where your business can run without you. You can walk away and your business still runs. Then that is a highly sought after business, especially when you start hitting really big numbers. When you get over 10 million a year, venture capital starts looking at you. And especially if you are an absentee owner, they realize that they can put a GM in place, so they pay him $250,000 a year to run that business, and that business is just going to print money. I mean, it's going to spit off 20 to 30% net profit every year. And I don't know about you, if I'm going to go in and I'm going to buy a business and I know from day one it's going to spit off $2 to $3 million in net profit a year, I would say, yeah, that's absolutely a good buy. Versus looking at it and saying, oh, it's only 20 grand a year. This business, I mean, this is going to take so much time for me to turn it around. So you need to back up 3 to 5 years before.
That's exactly what happened to the business I bought in October last year in Flagstaff. Is the owner, he only showed that he was making $20,000 a year, but he wanted to sell it for, you know, $350,000. And he found a guy that was willing to pay him that, but the bank wouldn't finance him.
Yeah,
I had the cash on hand because I have a line of credit, and I offered him a lower price, and guess what? I got it. And it was a distressed business, and it could be run better. You know, and he was at the end of his rope and he was done. So yeah, you know, we definitely benefited from all that. Jonathan's not on here anymore, but you guys all know Jonathan was at my house a couple of days last week, and him and I are working together to really straighten up my business. And hopefully, you know, saying this live, hopefully word doesn't get out too much, but I probably want to sell my business in the next 1 to 2 years. It'd be really nice to be out and away from that. But I'm not a fool. I'm not going to, you know, not show any profit. And, you know, I'm going to make as much profits as I can in the next 12 months. And then we'll have some really hungry buyers for sure.
Yeah. Can I mention another creative way to buy a business?
Yeah.
So let's say you're looking at a business, and you know what? Let me just show y'all. Can I share my screen?
Yeah, I'll make sure you can share it. Let's see here.
All right. So if you see right here, let's say I go in, I'm looking to buy your business, and do all of my calculations, and I come up that your business is worth $3.5 million. So I make you a $3.5 million offer. Well, if I'm going to pay that back over 15 years, right now, money's costing a minimum of 8% interest. If you go get an SBA loan, it's going to cost you 10%. So your monthly payments are going to be $37,611 a month. Well, if I give you a big check as an owner, you know, who's selling your business, you're going to lose half of it up front in taxes. So your $3.5 million is now worth what? 1.75. So you go home with 1.75, which is all well and good. I mean, you can do a lot with 1.75 million, but couldn't you do a whole lot more with 5 million? So what if I came to you and I said, you know what, your business is only worth 3.5, but I'm going to give you $5 million, but we're going to do it in a structured annuity. And what we're going to do is I'm going to pay you out over the next 15 years. And I'm going to give you, it's going to be at 0% interest, but here's how we're going to do it. If I miss a payment, you get the business back. Okay. You take the business back over, it's yours free and clear because I missed my payments. But for the next 15 years, you're going to get a check every month for $27,778. It's going to save you money by paying more to the business owner. He no longer loses half of his money up front. So he's now able to leverage that because he's going to get 5 million over 15 years rather than 1.75 up front. So he makes way more money in the long run by doing a structured annuity. And like Jonathan mentioned at the very beginning of the call, you can do this with 0 money down, and you can close on this in 15 to 30 days because there's no banks involved. All you're doing is just a straight buy-sell contract between 2 business owners. And I'm going to do it as an asset purchase. So if you have any skeletons in the closet, you didn't pay your taxes or anything like that, they can't come after me. All I did was buy the assets of your business. And I've actually had that happen. I had a business, had the IRS come after me. And all I had to do was send them a copy of my contract and say, hey, sorry, I only bought the assets of this business. I did not buy the stock of this business. And they walked away and they went and chased the other owner down. But I pay more, but it actually ends up saving me money in the long run because I don't have to pay all that extra money in interest. And
they don't have to pay that money in taxes. You know, they can defer it over the years.
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's
so
really cool.
win-win.
I'm glad how you shared that. That's really nice. The other, I was going to say something. I can't remember what I was going to say about deferring payments. Oh, that's a pretty ballsy claim. Like if we miss one payment, you get the business back. Like, better know how you're running your business, right?
what this allows you to do is you can actually close on the business right away and then do your due diligence after you buy the business. So let's say I take your business over, and then just before we close, you give everybody in the business a raise and everything is not what you told me it was. I just don't make my first payment and you get the business back.
That's a strategic way. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Wow, some awesome knowledge. Should hang out with Marvin more often, huh, guys?
Yeah.
Love it. So, do we have any other questions for Marvin?
Yeah, curious when you're going to banks and whatnot. Like, what kind of banks do you want to look into for? You know, like we're with Chase, right? Or a big corporate bank. And I've always heard go to the small local banks for business. Is that true? Like
for me, it is. I have a couple different banks. I do use Chase, and I absolutely love Chase. Like I got a $50,000 interest-free credit card from them for 1 year. Like that's fantastic, right? And I think you guys remember I bought part of a business with that 50 grand interest-free. But I have another bank. It's here. It's local. It's called Alaris. It's not a national bank, but they have true business bankers in there. So a lot of times, like I learned about that bank from my accountant. He usually feels out and he has a bunch of customers. So you could talk to an accountant and ask them who they recommend for a local business bank. Because they're in the money, they're in the business to make money, and they're going to make money when they find businesses like us coming to them. Like, it's like us landing a big job. Like, they want your business. Chase and Bank of America and Wells Fargo, they don't care, man. If you don't fit in their box, like,
You're a number to them. That's it.
yeah.
What kind of stuff would
So-
you say is good to have prepared when you go in to talk to them? Like, what kind of information do you want to bring?
I mean, I would bring your full financials. Yeah, I would bring in
If
your
you're
P&L,
going to
your
get a
balance
loan with them, they're going to want to see 3 to 5 years of P&Ls and tax
sheet,
returns,
bank statements.
balance sheets, asset list, what your AR is. They're literally going to pick your business apart because they want to make sure that they're going to actually get paid. But my favorite, like what you said, is hometown banks. I've got 3 different hometown banks that we work with. And every time we do a new deal where we go and get a loan, they fight over who's going to give us the loan. We get better interest rates. And what I love is when I have a problem, I can actually get a hold of a real person. My bankers, I have every one of their personal cell
I
phone
was just gonna say, I
numbers.
got my banker on his cell phone. I could call him right now. If
Yeah.
I wanted to. Yep.
I have their
Relationship.
personal cell phone numbers. And for instance, I got into a really bad pinch in October of last year. It started all the way back in August, and we didn't realize it until October that our AR was stacking. And what had happened is our bookkeeper, her daughter was pregnant, got put on bed rest. So she went to go and help her daughter for a few months and kind of took her eye off the ball. So we weren't having as much collections going on. And our AR stacked on us, and it hit us all in the month of October, where we had almost $100,000 deficit, and we weren't going to be able to make payroll. And I text my banker and said, "Hey, I need to meet with you tomorrow. Got a big problem. Need to see if you can help me." Went into his office, and I just laid the cards out on the table. I said, "Look, you know who we are. You know how we do business. I always pay my bills." I said, "But I need a bridge loan. I need 75 grand to get me through the next 30 days. I'll pay you back." And he said, "Okay, I'll have the money in your account tomorrow." Signed some paperwork. He put the money in my account, and I paid him back within 3 weeks.
What was the interest rate on that? It was probably pretty good, right?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, prime +1 or prime plus.
Yeah, prime +1. It's typically prime
Yeah.
+1.
So if
So
you
I
guys,
think it cost me 7% or something.
yeah. So if you guys have like House Call Pro or these other CRMs, a lot of times they offer business financing, or you can get financing against Stripe payments and stuff like that. That's expensive money. That's expensive money. Having a relationship with a local banker, that's cheaper.
All
money.
the difference in the world.
Yeah.
And they're easy to
Build
work with because
relationships.
they'll come to you. You don't have to go to their office. They'll come to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They want to work with you because they're local.
Yep.
And like I just bought a building in October, and he couldn't believe he was able to get me 5% interest on it on a commercial loan.
Nice.
Wow.
And
Nice.
just being able to, if I went to some other banks, I went to a bigger bank and they were like astronomical and didn't want to work with you at all. But you're right, a local bank is by far the easiest one to work with.
Yeah, you're right. Our local banker, he's like 30 miles way the north side of Phoenix. He comes down to our office all the time. We never go to him. So, yeah, Nick, ask an accountant, ask around, find somebody who's a good local banker.
Cool.
I met my first local bank through a reference from another business owner. He, I don't know, 15 years ago, I had a problem. I had a $2 million contract cancel on me 3 days before we were supposed to start. And I had already purchased all the equipment and hired and had been training and ready to go. And all of a sudden, like, I hit this massive wall and I needed 50 grand to keep moving forward. And my friend introduced me to his banker. The guy had never met me. I sat down at his desk. I told him my story, told him what was happening. And he said, "How much do you need?" And I said, "And I really need 50 grand. 50 grand will help me live to fight another day." And he said, "Do you need it today or will Monday be okay?" And I said, I can make it till Monday. And he said, "Okay, I'll have the paperwork ready tomorrow. The money will be in your bank on Monday."
So
That's it.
So we got to ask Angela a question. She's awfully quiet today. You have the infamous story of buying your first building, right, with your dance studio?
Yeah.
How did that work?
23. Yeah, I was young, and so didn't really have anything. I was right out of college. I think I was 23 and not 22. When I bought my first building, it was in a small town, so a big commercial building, all the assets, and that's when I needed to start my dream. And I told the story, I went to a lot of banks. But that was just about me selling my enthusiasm and plan that I could make it happen. I obviously didn't really have that much of a track record, except like sales stories and things like that I could prove, and a pretty solid business plan.
You're like, I can sell Cutco knives like nobody else. You need to give me a building, right?
Yeah. Yes, I can make $20,000 a week selling Cutco knives, so you need to give me a building. That was about just a really solid business plan of how, like, the plan that I could make it happen and execute. So like planning financials, what my financials exactly would look like, what the revenue, and really planning the details of what they would look like, and finally selling a bank on that I could make that happen.
So it was more of a business plan that you presented, right?
Yes. And extremely detailed of, how many of all the things that it would take to put into place. And just the fact that I could build relationships and get that many clients. And I have a funny story on the other side of that, because not one banker, and I went to all kinds of towns. I mean, this is over like 25 presentations to get a loan, and I finally did, to buy the building.
That's persistence. That's impressive.
A lot of people told me no. I mean, it was a major, I don't remember the amount at the time, but it was over 6,000 square foot of a commercial building, and lots of equipment and things like that I needed. But you've heard the story. On the flip side, no, not one of those people. Everyone told me it was like solid. Every accountant I went to, everyone thought it was like such a well put together plan, and numbers like planned out, the forecasting planned out. And I missed a major part that I didn't know that I needed in having indoor trampolines and liability insurance. That's liability insurance attached to each student. So that's a funny story, because after everything was signed and I was in business, I realized I didn't know if it was possible to even cash flow.
Oh man.
Because of insurance. Wow.
It was
The biggest thing that I've seen that having a hometown banker, the benefit of them is they bank in you, not just the numbers.
yes.
True. Yeah.
So yeah, it was a small town banker, and like I brought them a lot of business. They believed in me. It was great for them, and I brought them a lot of business. And that's now I live in Omaha. It's still not that big of a city, but I absolutely use a local bank that, I can text absolutely anything that I need. That makes all the difference. Because like you said, you can just say it's a conversation. That's a great way to put it.
It's great too. Yeah, it's great too, because they've seen so many scenarios and so many different things. My banker says, anytime you make a major financial decision, give me a call. I'll let you know what I think about it. And sit on the phone with them and chat with them. And he's like, this is really what I think. And it's like, it's great to have his perspective, because he's probably seen it all, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, next week, David Hamill's going to be presenting, right, David?
I am.
Yeah, you want to explain a little bit?
I'm going to talk about branding and marketing, and show a lot of examples of different things you can do to look maybe bigger than you really are. If you're new starting out, look like when you look the right part, you can get a better price. You can charge more. You can demand a higher price because you look like you should. And that's part of what we all need to be doing.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Cool. Well, I hope you guys have an awesome rest of your week. It was really nice to hang out. What's that?
We keep telling you we're launching the event, but we do actually have everything ready to launch the event.
Oh, we do.
So it's like we do. We have some more promotional stuff and some fun videos that we're working on, but we believe we have all the details together to launch Collaborate Live event. The dates and contract signed and everything worked out. So stay tuned. What are we giving away? Did we decide? I'm actually encouraging Dave to give away something.
Oh, you are.
Mark Coleman.
We're giving something away today?
No, I didn't say that. Marvin, you're new to this, but Dave has a habit, especially when I'm gone, of just giving away.
I said that last
flights
week.
and
Angela's
hotel
not here.
rooms.
We're giving something away. Nick was like, do it. Who cares what Angela thinks?
Let's give away some flights today. Free flights to Phoenix, free hotel rooms at the event. I'm like, oh goodness. Anyway, not that, but the first, I'll just let you call it out. I'm gonna be brave and say you can call out that when we post the registration link, which should be today or tomorrow. What do the first 10 or 20? What are we giving away to the?
Yeah, so we're
first
gonna
people to
do extra bonus points, right? So we're gonna do quite a few bonus points, like 50 bonus points. If you're one of the first 10 that registers for Collaborate Live, right? So when the link goes out, we'll send it to all of our customers, everybody in our network. It's a couple hundred people, but if you're the first 10 to show up, you'll get 50 bonus points, and you more chance to win $5,000, right? That's cool.
So, like we've said, we've kind of talked up the event. It's going to be different than your normal event, with a focus on collaborate. Lots of time to network, build relationships, build connections, and then sessions where you are not only learning from great people, but really having a chance to have conversations and with other business owners, with people that are there, with the people that they're speaking and bringing things to the table, and collaborate and implement the ideas before you go home.
It's just like having Marvin on here today, like bumping elbows, hanging out with somebody like Marvin, the stuff you can learn. You know, Jonathan, who was on here earlier, like, man, the stuff you can learn, the things I've learned in the last, 2 to 5 years of just getting out and hanging out with people. Nick, man, I thank you so much for inviting me to the BBB group. Like, that group has been a game changer. Just hanging around really solid other business owners and their knowledge and their energy. And I always say people equals power. The more people you have in your life, the more power you're going to have. So yeah, we're really excited about it. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, guys, enjoy your Wednesday. Have a great rest of your week, and God bless you all. Thanks again, Marvin. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're welcome anytime. So anytime you want to jump on.
Thank you.
See you guys.
Bye, everyone. Have a great week.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.
See ya. Angela, you want to chat some more?
Sure.